I'm Mark Cowling, Mr. Saltwater Tank, coming to you on behalf of SaltwaterAquarium.com. Since becoming a professional aquarist over 13 years ago, I've lost track of how many saltwater tanks I've built. And there's questions that newbies have that I've forgotten about because so much of this process is second nature to me. Now, I don't say that to be cocky. I say that out of the realization that in this becoming second nature, I don't remember everything that newbies have questions about. So as I thought about a new build series, I didn't want to do it as me talking to you on the camera. I wanted to do it through the eyes of a newbie. Someone who's wanted a saltwater tank but never thought that they could afford it, or it was too difficult, or for whatever reason they felt like the barrier to get into the saltwater tank was just too much. Coach that person through the process, remind me about those challenges and questions that newbies have, and especially help you as someone watching this video series thinking, yeah, I'd like to have a saltwater tank, but it's too difficult, or whatever, fill in the blank, whatever your excuse is. So to do that, I'm going to bring in someone who's a friend of mine who I have a bit of a history with. Now, I'm not going to talk about it. I'm going to turn it over to him. Take it away, Jimmy.
I'm Jimmy Strater, Mr. Saltwater Tank, coming to you on behalf of... No, I'm not Mr. Saltwater Tank, but I know Mr. Saltwater Tank. And how do I know him? Well, it's because of this guy. Now, this is my friend Steve, and he's a colleague of mine. He's a filmmaker. Now, you see, I'm a video production guy as a profession, but I'm also a lover of the ocean. And that's why Steve introduced me to his friend Mark. And we'll get to Mark in a minute. Now, I grew up here. Now, it's not normal for a kid from Minnesota to be fascinated with the oceans. I was never normal. So there's lots of fish in Minnesota, but no coral reefs. So how did I become so fascinated with the ocean? This guy. Now, I loved watching him on PBS. He invented scuba diving. Now, I learned how to scuba, and I got certified with my son Thomas when he was 12. And then I took him out of school, and we went diving. I also worked here, and I taught about conservation at one of the largest aquariums in the world at Epcot at Walt Disney World. And my son and I would go diving there too. Now, knowing my passion and experience, my friend Steve recommended me to his friend Mark, Mr. Saltwater Tank, to do some camera work at a trade show here in Orlando where I live. So it went pretty good. And Mark is an accomplished production guy himself. He already had a popular YouTube show, and he makes all of his content most of the time all by himself. So sometimes, especially when he's on locations, he gets a little help from other pros, and that's where I come in. Now, did you ever wonder how Mark got those awesome shots of himself in the Indian Ocean island of Rodrigues? You know, walking down the sand, camera following him. Or those incredible shots overhead on the Great Barrier Reef with the cool yacht in the background. Now, for several years, I'd step in and do camera work and production work for Mr. Saltwater Tank episodes whenever Mark needed a little help. But now it's time for Mark to use all of his skill and knowledge to help me. Now, I'm getting my very first reef tank. I've been wanting it for a long time, and I'm going to take you on this adventure with me every step of the way. Now, I'm a newbie, so this should be fun. The very first step is to figure out where in my house I'm going to put it. Now, fortunately, Mark was just in town again for another trade show, and he came over and helped me figure this out, and that's where we kick off. Okay, so this is where it all started for me. This is a 75-gallon freshwater aquarium I bought 22 years ago.
22 years ago.
Yeah, it's 22 years old, the same.
Same fish?
I wish I could say that. Actually, funny story was, I got fish, the first time I bought fish, I bought them at the, like Petco, and then some at Walmart or something. I just picked things I thought looked cool. And then I put them in there, and they're chasing each other around, and then the next morning I get up and there's like bones or something, like one ate another. And so I just went and bought some more fish. They were cheap, a few bucks. Bought things that would look cool. And then I went into a fish store, an aquarium store that had fish, and I'm talking to the owner, and he's like, "You did what?" And I'm like, "Well, they look really..." He's like, "You can't do that. That's cruel." And I'm like, "Oh man, I didn't know." So the hobby started for me I just want something that looks cool. And but then I learned a little bit, and I got fish that got healthy. And then when we moved from Minnesota, where we started, to Florida, I went back to that aquarium store and I brought my bin full of fish that I'd scooped out of here to move. And I wanted to give them to the fish store so he could resell them to someone. I wasn't going to move them to Florida. And I walk in, I'm like, hey, I've got these fish. And he goes, I'll give you $30 for that one. I'll give you 20. And I'm like, okay. I was just going to give them to him because I'm moving, right? but they had grown big and were healthy. I started with so many, and I ended with like 5 healthy freshwater fish that I thought looked cool. I don't remember which ones they were now, what kind of fish. Then we've moved a couple of times. We moved into this house 3 years ago, and then I put it here at the top of the stairs because it fit, and I didn't know where else I was going to put it. The dream was always saltwater aquarium.
Yeah.
My wife had worked for this gentleman who had one in his office back in like the early 90s, 30 years ago. And that's the first time I saw someone who had one. And he had someone that came in and took care of it and all this kind of stuff. So he's telling me about his fish tank and showing me the fish in it. And that's where I was like, I want that someday. And he was the CEO of some company he had in his office. So I started here, and then I never really had the courage, to go and do it. Yeah. And so now I'm super stoked because I'm going to do it. But this location here, it's this gets really neglected because it's just not in a line of sight. I mean, you look, the stairs are right here.
Right.
You can't sit and look at it. You're going to fall down the stairs.
Yep.
So it's one of those things, although it fits nice, I don't know what else I'll put here. I'll probably leave this here, or maybe even get another saltwater tank here, and maybe this will be my...
You're already on the 2.
I am already on the 2.
Now you're on the 2.
Because I've been to so many trade shows and things with you that I'm like, all these guys have, oh, this is my fish one, or this is, I've got this coral in here now, or this is my quarantine tank. So I'm already thinking ahead, because another thing that I learned from knowing you over the years, I was watching one of your talks at Aquashella, and you're going through your history of owning aquariums. And the one thing that just resonated was, you think it's big, and it's not gonna be big soon. Mm-hmm. So this was 75 gallons. When I got this, I was like, this is ginormous, this is awesome. And now it's just like, it's not a big deal.
Right.
It's not really big. So I'm already thinking I am thinking of 2, because I know that if I'm going to get into it, I'm going to get into it. Plus, I have you as a friend. So, hey, I've got a hotline to Mr. Saltwater.
You've got my phone number.
Yeah, so if you need his cell phone, I'll take bribes. And then you can have the hotline. No, so yeah, I'm really looking for your guidance in all of this. But this location, I've already decided, no, it's probably not going here. And
I was going to ask, how often do you and your wife come up here?
We actually utilize this room quite a bit. It's a kind of a getaway space. This we call it the loft, I guess. It's like a family room. But yeah, we spend time up here, but I wouldn't enjoy it the way I intend to.
Yeah, there are a couple things sticking out with this room. One, it seems kind of out of sight, out of mind. Mm-hmm. It's up the stairs. You spend most of your time downstairs.
Yeah.
And there's nowhere to sit. Like, the tank's gonna be relaxing, you wanna look at it. Yeah. Standing's okay, but we can put a beanbag chair like here and like sit and check it out. Right. There's nowhere to really sit and relax and take it in. So I do like the top of the stairs. It's a great, like, boom, here it is. Yeah. Those reasons, things that I would think about. Also, like, if you had to bring water from downstairs for whatever reason, everyone likes a leg workout, but that's gonna get old.
Well, that's a whole nother thing that I've been thinking about is, if I'm gonna do water changes and things like that, what I do now is I siphon it out of the top into a big purple bucket. I'll show you the bucket. I've had the same bucket for 25 years.
Where's the bucket?
Here's the bucket.
You know what that is? That's a muck bucket for horse.
It was like our laundry. It's torn. I got pictures of my kids sitting in here. Yeah. My son's 26 years old now, but I used to put him in here and scoot him along the carpet and he'd giggle. But no, I've been siphoning fish tank water into this thing, and then when you're cleaning the substrate, you put too much to carry.
Right.
So then I'm breaking my back, and then I'm sore the next day carrying this to the tub and pouring it out. So I need a better solution for that.
Yeah.
So, which brings me to a few other areas. Do you want to see some other?
Let's go look at that.
Okay, let's look at that. Okay, Mark, I have another room here. It's quite large. It's under the stairs. I'll have you take a look. So it's already a dedicated room. You can take a look. I'm afraid if I go in that room, oh, you can take a look. It could be really distracting in that room. And if it's distracting in that room, things could go horribly wrong. So let's look at this room. So Mark, then there's this space. This we call our study. And it's pretty full. So, I just got the little piano for Christmas for my wife. Not to get off track, but I've been married 30 years. And we were at my father-in-law's a year and a half ago. And he's got a piano. My wife sits down, pulls out a book, sets it up there and starts playing. I had no idea she could play the piano. So I bought her a piano for Christmas. So that kind of took the spot of my saltwater tank. So I kind of can't go there anymore because this really is a good spot for it. And then the other side's kind of fill up. That's where I sit. When I'm at her recital, I call it. I always say to her, are you gonna do recital? And she plays the piano. But this is a great sitting room. It's downstairs, right inside the front door. Great viewing. And then just the other side of this is the living room. There was a time where I thought, oh, peninsula tank. Where this wall is, but it's load bearing, I think, and it's the edge of the house upstairs, so we couldn't do it. Okay. So this is probably another no.
Not for you. Good, but not
I mean,
quite.
we would have to move something, and the piano would have to go, or the chair would have to go. It's a good room. It actually was a dedicated dining room. It's just off the kitchen, but we took the dining fixture, put it up in the air, and we changed it. We call it the study because we just don't ever use formal dining. So
okay, so you're not sold on this. That means you got to have third time's the charm in your head.
I do. Let's look at that.
All right.
So this is my office.
It's a pretty jazzy office, man. I dig it.
Yeah, it's pretty different. It's kind of a mid-century modern look, from the 60s. It all kind of started, I knew I wanted a standing desk, and I found one in that kind of wood from that everything was in the 60s. And then more than that, I'm a huge Disney fan. You see I'm wearing Mickey Mouse. I worked for Walt Disney World on and off for like 23 years. And part of the story of this office was I really wanted my office to look like Walt Disney's office. And one of the things that was really iconic in his office was he had a big map on the wall showing what it was his Florida project. So he was gonna build what became Walt Disney World. So I had a friend of mine who's was a Walt Disney Imagineer, designed my own theme park, Strater Island. And here's my son and my daughter when they were kids. We lived right here at Walt Disney World. And so he took this picture that I had on Facebook and painted my picture. And there's my wife and I there. It's got a really cool backstory. He actually, because he's an Imagineer storyteller, he wrote a backstory about all these lands. And I actually have a park map that tells you what each attraction's there, what food's served. So yeah, this is kind of the centerpiece now, but I could put a saltwater aquarium right here. And I could move this credenza, move that, move the art over above my desk. For that matter, anything in this office can move. So like that. If you notice, when you come right in the front door, you saw that we came in the double doors to my office where I can close it off. But you could, if it was on that wall where my desk is, you'd see it coming in the front door. It's pretty dramatic.
You'd also see it from the street.
You would, it's pretty cool. I've got these windows here, you'd be able to see it. And that's pretty cool. And the other thing is, Mark, just on the other side of that wall is a little bathroom.
Okay.
So I could put a hole or whatever I need to do where I have access to a drain or water or whatever.
All right, I gotta stop it right here. As we're talking about cutting holes in the wall and tapping into drains, Realize this, that's not necessary for you to get your tank set up. It's a nice perk to have, something that Jimmy's thinking about for down the line. But if you think you need to do that to have a saltwater tank or to have a successful saltwater tank, not true. It's just something he's thinking ahead about. We might utilize that, we might not.
I think that's the wall. After really thinking it over, talking with my wife, I think it needs to go where my desk is now. And my desk, I think, will probably move to there.
Okay.
I used to have my desk there. The only problem is the internet and everything comes in. I've got hard drives and routers and everything else built into here, and they come in from outside right here. But I can run a wire around there to my desk. And then this credenza, you know, we'll just put it, we'll put something else, we'll move this stuff around.
So this is the right mentality to have. The tank is first, everything else moves around the tank.
That's
I like
right.
that. Two thoughts about this room. One, I like that it's closer to drain, because if you have a water source and a drain, that's going to make things a lot easier for you. The concern about the room, though, is this is your office. So when you come in here, you're going to work. Then are you going to come in here and relax, or are you going to go, oh, nice tank, but I need to do this because you're looking at the computer?
Yeah, it's not really a big deal. Honestly, because I made my passion my work, I always liked creating videos, kind of like you and aquariums, this is still a space that I just love to be in. And that's why I went with the kind of theming that I did that I really enjoy. So even though it is a workspace, it's also, I mean, I got a couch I lay down in there and fall asleep. This is where I like to come. I can close the doors, you know, off from the world. And no, it fits right in with my lifestyle. I think being in my office, being an office, it don't matter. It'll be fine.
Okay.
Yeah, for me.
So this is the room, this is the wall.
Yeah.
Now it's a question about dimensions, but there's a catch with that. So let's talk about that.
Okay.
And then we'll choose the tank, and then it's up to you.
All right.
I'm going to be 1,000 miles away, and
Oh, you can't just be here every day?
no, sorry.
But you're a Zoom call away, unless you're on an airplane to Fiji or the Great Barrier Reef or.
You know how to
something
work
like that.
Zoom, Jimmy. You got that down, right?
I know how to work Zoom.
All right, great. So we got that nailed down. That's a big decision about where you're going to put the tank. That can also dictate the size of your tank. So we'll talk about size, then let's get this thing built.
All right, that sounds awesome.
You look nervous.
I'm definitely nervous because I'm total newbie.
Okay.
I mean, so I know nothing. I only know what I've been learning at going to trade shows with you, where I'm standing behind a camera, and a lot of times I got on headphones and I'm just really listening to audio quality. I'm not even listening to what you're saying. But now I'm hearing things like refugium, UV, chemistry. It's all peanut butter and jelly to me. I don't even know.
Okay.
So I've been watching your YouTube videos. I have edited some of those. I am learning, but I don't want to buy fish that eat each other right off the bat. You know, I don't want my chemistry. So I really am going to need a lot of help.
Okay.
A lot of help.
That's fine. It's what keeps a lot of people out of the hobby is it seems unattainable. I mean, you even said it upstairs. It's like the CEO had one, but that was for him. It wasn't for me. And now the second hurdle is like, well, there's a lot to learn that's intimidating. We're going to flatten that learning curve for you.
Yeah.
And you're going to be hit some bumps in the road. That's part of it. I'll help you through those. It's about how fast we recover, avoiding them first, but then if we hit them, how fast we recover and then move on.
Awesome. Well, I'm super stoked.
All right, great.
It's going to be awesome.
All right, I'm going to get out of here.
All right.
Have fun, Jimmy.
All right. Thanks, Mark.